Hey, what is up, everybody? Hope you guys are having a wonderful night. We are doing our 4-gate barrel selection tonight. So first, I want to just welcome everybody that's tuning in. We're very excited to be able to bring you guys this pick, largely due to Bill helping us out. And Bill has sent us samples, and we're going to go through those tonight. Also, you guys should be getting your founders and short barrel picks. I'm getting feedback from somebody, I believe. Let me see. Let me make sure. Not sure who that is. I think I got it. I think it was Dusty. But anyway, I hope you guys are getting your picks. Thank you guys for being patient with us. UPS is picking those up in several loads, and those are getting out to you guys. But we don't want to talk too much logistics here. We want to get into the barrel picks. So I am going to turn it over to our president, Joe. And let's see here. All right, Joe, you want to go? You got anything to say tonight?
So, hey, everyone, super excited to be bringing this to you. The way that 4-gate does their picks, unfortunately, it is a virtual, but everybody gets to see what's happening. So that makes it really cool. We didn't know if we were going to be able to pull off a barrel like this for our first year, but Bill jumped on board and helped make it happen. Tonight, we're going to do our taste through. Everybody is completely blind as far as which sample is in which bottle, except for Bill. So he's going to lead us through. We're going to taste through. We're going to get everybody's ranking like we would normally do a blind flight on anyone's channel. And then we'll see what 4-gate barrel we're getting. So, Bill, you want to lead us into it?
Yeah, great. Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Lance. I would be remiss if I didn't take an opportunity to thank Bill Straub from 4-gate, who's one of the co-founders of 4-gate, who was incredibly responsive and had a couple of phone calls with me to help make this happen. To Todd Ritter, those of you that know Todd, he's a great member of the Whiskey Tube community who made the intro to Bill Straub, of which this wouldn't have happened. He and I happened to be on a pick together at Hard Truth, and he made the introduction that made this happen. And to Chris Luddig, who's the Midwest rep for 4-gate, who at 6:30 on the morning of July 4th drove 90 minutes in one direction to meet me halfway between his house and mine so I could just get these samples and send them to everybody. So as with many things, it's not one person. It takes a village to make things happen, and that is certainly the case tonight. What we have in front of us is 3 different single barrels from 4-gate. These are props. These happen to be 2 of my bottles, Kelvin Collaboration 2 and Kelvin Collaboration 5. I happen to be a big fan of 4-gate, and these are 2 of my favorites, so I thought it would be fitting to have a couple on the table. But the 3 in front of us are all completely different whiskeys. They don't have the same finish or same characteristics, so we're picking from 3 completely different variants of 4-gate whiskey. The only person participating tonight that knows what's in these 3 is me. The other 5 members of the board are completely blind. They asked to do that so they could judge and assess the whiskey purely on its merits without bias as to what was in the glass. And we're simply going to go one at a time. I'm going to ask each of the members to rank it. We're going to do a pretty rudimentary system here of lowest points wins. Whoever gets the fewest points wins. And that'll be our pick. So that's the plan. And hope everybody gets excited about this as I am. 4-gate very quickly became a pretty special whiskey in the community. And the fact that we could do this for Barrels for Hope in the first year is pretty amazing. And that doesn't happen without 140 plus members that are contributing to make it possible. Yep. So with that, I'll ask the board to let's start the night with a cheers and thanks to all the members. We'll start with sample A.
Cheers.
All right. Sounds good. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, all.
Ooh. All right. Now, here's the interesting thing. Do you want to talk about
notes? Of course. It's a pretty boring live stream if we don't talk.
Well, whatever Josh says, I'm going to start getting on the nose. So,
to me, I'm getting it's got that. It's got a little bit of rickhousiness, like the oak in a rickhouse. It's got a little bit of that. It's not overpowering. It's just nicely, pleasantly oaked.
Yeah, like an indiscriminate sweetness on the oak too. with the rick house. Like I know everybody's watching is if you've been on a tour in Kentucky and you walk into those old rick houses, like walking into Bardstown Bourbon Company is fun, but you go into one of the old rick houses and that kind of smell you get from that, and it's amazing.
I'm getting lots of honey on it.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's sweet. There's some sweetness there for sure.
Oh yeah. Some of that sweetness is turning into a little honey, more maybe leaning more brown sugar, a little darker, like some toasted sugar on top of like the creme brulee.
And we don't know the proof points on these, by the way, guys, but most of Forgate stuff is up in the 1-teens-ish range. And this is like the ethanol on this is non-existent to me. I'm getting no ethanol.
It's not singeing your nose hairs, but you can smell like this is gonna be nice. Like this is gonna be in a proof point that you want.
You guys ever eat those little boxes of raisins? If you like open up one of those little boxes of raisins we had as kids in those snack packs, I get a little bit of that.
Okay, yeah, some dried dark stone fruit or something, or some grapes.
Sweet fruit.
Yeah, Joe, you just said stone fruit, I think, which is like that has a brightness to it. And there's a dark fruit note here, a light fruit note here, but the light fruit isn't bright. Yeah. It's just a light fruit.
Like plum. Instead of like peach stone fruit, I'm getting more of a plum.
Yeah.
I'm honestly, guys, I'm getting like a little bit of like double mint gum, like spearmint gum with like the white dust on it, the sugar. Like I'm getting a little bit of that in here as well.
There is a little bit of a spearmint note there.
Yeah, it's super pleasant. That's a note that can go really sideways for me really quickly, but it can also be a really nice addition to a pour to add some complexity.
So the other thing is, I've noticed a lot of what we're saying are generalities, right? Like some general sugar categories, some general fruit categories, because nothing is shooting out in one direction too much another. It's really well rounded on the nose.
It's very balanced. Yeah, very, very balanced.
Yeah.
Are we getting the palate on this thing?
Yeah.
Let's taste it, guys. Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, all.
Oh, that's beautiful.
That's got some oomph.
That has a power. It's not burning, right? Like it's not like melting your face, but it has power to it.
Yeah, so for full disclosure, I'm kind of on the same page as Bill here. I was warming up with Kelvin Collaboration 5. I figured that was a good warm up from the same brand. A recent release, so maybe some of you guys might have it as well. Maybe some of you guys are drinking it at home. And I want to see, if you happen to have this, how these compare. This is coming through with a little bit more on the palate than Kelvin 5 to me.
It is.
It's a different profile, but it's got a little bit more gravitas.
It has something to it, and it's sitting like right in the jaws, right? And then that hug is slowly moving down. Oh,
Kim,
getting some really nice rye spice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got some really nice spice going on, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's what's getting me back here. It's like
it's like sitting like right there.
Yeah.
It's a little sweeter on the nose than it is on the palate.
A little bit. Right up front, beginning of the palate, I got a lot of that like dark burnt sugar sweetness, and then it rolled into like that oak, and then that spice, like Kim was saying, started really developing into the back. Man, this is good.
It's good. It reminds me of some really good wild turkey. A little bit.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I can see there the way the spice is coming across. Yeah.
And there's just that like honeyed nuttiness. And it's not real, very mild nuttiness. Yeah. I'm getting more honey in it. But the more I drink it, the sweeter it gets.
Chad says proof and spearmint, I'll pass. Hope it's not a rye. Don't anybody who's turned off by ryes, don't be turned off by our notes on this one. It is not like a rye, or at least it doesn't come crossed
See, I'm not getting spearmint on this one.
I'm not on the palate at all. I know what Josh meant on the nose. I'm not getting it on the palate at all.
There's just a slight hint, and it was more of that like powdery sugar that goes along with it.
Yeah, 100%.
But it's not like don't be afraid if someone gives some like rye type notes.
Yeah, there's a big difference between like a sugary gum sweetness and an herb.
Right.
And this is much more the sugary gum.
There's no minty pine needles in this at all.
Dusty, the people want to hear from you, man.
I mean, I was talking a little bit, but I may have been muted.
Oh yeah, you're getting a lot of feedback in your car.
Yeah, sorry. I literally just got back from driving, so but I get a little bit of like honey roasted peanut on the back of this, a very, very slight bit of like some like sugared berries on the very back of the palate, but I do get a lot of oak tannins, some rye spice. Not a ton of sweetness really. I mean, maybe like Joe said, maybe a little bit of like some burnt brown sugar there on the tip of the tongue, but I mean that's about it for me, really.
Do you like it?
Yeah, it's good.
This is straight up my alley because well, I know none of these are real old, but it has that presence of an old whiskey has with some darker kind of earthier but sweet earthier notes.
Yeah, 100 like sweet earthy. Yeah. By the way, it's funny in chat. Anytime Dan's in the car, I love the bits in chat. Witness protection, the FBI surveillance ban.
Everybody thinks Dan's still on the run. He's been on the run for 3 straight live streams.
It's one of my favorite things in chat.
He's on a road trip doing his whiskey samples, driving down I-80. Oh man,
I do like this one though. I mean, it's good. I'm curious of the proof though, because it still kind of continues to drink a little hot, a little spicy.
It's spicy.
Yeah, it's got spice to it, which some people love, some people don't. I like that. That grips the back of the palate.
Bill, you have maybe the most Forgate experience here. You want to try and answer that from Chad?
What was Chad? Explain the price point of Forgate if it's younger juice. So the entry level for any Forgate whiskey is $199 retail. They don't come cheaper than that. They can go up from that. Typically, the highest, at least to date, the highest retail I've seen on a Forgate is $249. The Japanese Mizunara Oak comes to mind, was $249 if I recall. So the retail price point on these fall between $199 and $249. All of these are the same age. I guess I can, since it's a consistent thing, I can disclose that. All 3 of these are 7 years old. So they're not young, but they're also not super old. They're kind of right in that mid-age range.
And we do know that there is barrel selection at play, which goes into Forgate's price, where they get their barrels from, and what those cost them. And then we do know there's some elements of finishing in play as well, which anytime you finish anything, that costs some as well. So
it's the barrel selection. It's their marketing. I mean, let's be honest, marketing is a big part, right? They're marketed as a premium product. Their barrel selection, their finishing, their blending also. I mean, these are single barrels, but I mean, a lot of their stuff is collaborations with other Calvin Cooperage. They're blending. They've got amazing blending skills, and that sets some whiskeys ahead of others. And they won't, for that price, because they're marketed as a premium product, they won't put out a product that they don't feel justifies that price.
So Forgate doesn't distill any of their own juice. Keep that in mind. They are a non-distilling producer. But the reason they can charge the prices they are, and the reason they are still as popular as they are, despite the prices, 3 primary reasons. 1, they pay a premium price for premium barrels. They get honey barrels from distillers. barrels, and they are willing to pay up to get those barrels. Second, they don't chintz on finishing. They get premium secondary barrels for their finishing. And third, as Joe mentioned, is their blending capabilities. The Kelvin Collaboration Series, if you've never had one, treat yourselves. There's 5 of them now, and any of the 5 are just a fabulous treat to drink. And I don't think there's an age statement on a single one of them. And I've not yet met a person that didn't think they were fabulous whiskey.
Yeah, I'll add. I saw Scott. Scott said that 4-Gate 7-year tastes older for sure, and I would have. I mean, blind. I probably would have guessed this first sample 10 to 12 years. I mean, yeah, for sure.
The more I sip on it, the more like Rick Housey it gets.
Yeah.
So right. I'm actually enjoying that. The more I sip on it, the more like a Rick House gets. I find that fantastic. I mean, I'm still waiting for. I guess somebody's come out with cologne now, bourbon cologne. I'm waiting for the Rick House. I mean, it might be dangerous if you get pulled over though, but.
All right. So why don't we spend a couple of minutes nosing sample B?
All right.
This is going in a totally different direction.
Does B look a little darker than A?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
it does.
B definitely has that that finished quality, like it's been in a second barrel.
There's some like sugared fruit on here, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Extra oak and sugared fruit.
Yeah.
Man, I'm even getting some butterscotch on this.
A lot of butterscotch.
Butterscotch. Like a real silky hard caramel.
Yeah.
Like a real smooth silky hard caramel.
Cody asked which of the Kelvin editions is my favorite. So I have to eliminate the first one because I've never had the first one. I was late to the Kelvin Collaboration game. I've owned 2 through 5. I currently own 2, 4, and 5. I might say my favorite is 2, 4 being a close second. 4 is the only one of the 5 that's a burr rye, and that sweet spice combination. I'm a bit of a sucker for the finished boo rye like that. So I'd say 2 and 4 are probably my 2 favorites.
Man, I like the nose on this second one.
Man.
So the nose is really good. It's okay. So I don't want to say simple because that's going to make it sound bad, but maybe not as complex as 1. Like it's doing something really well, but only that one thing really well for me right now.
Yeah,
it's a lot of sweetness to it. There's not a lot of that Rick House smell going on. It's very sweet, very sweet on the nose.
I'm getting a little bit of the woodiness on it for sure, personally. Yeah,
I'm getting the wood,
but it's different. It's a different
wood note.
Yeah, it's more just like a straight wood. The sweetness on here though doesn't smell like a Werther's. It doesn't smell like you're smelling a Werther's. It smells like you're in a room full of Werther's.
Yeah.
Like it's just crazy candy sweet.
Yeah, this doesn't smell anything like A.
No, completely different.
Not even close.
And I am getting a woodiness to it. I'm getting on it is like it's a little bit Rick Housey, but in a different way. Maybe more like
there's definitely some tannins in there for sure, but it is a little different.
Dan, you're a cigar guy, right? Who else?
I smoke cigars.
Who else is into cigars? So if you had the Cuba Cubas from Drew Estate, the acid, where they got some like sugar infusion, and it's almost like a sugar infused cigar tobacco. I'm getting now.
Yeah, it's like sugared plums. I can see that sugared tobacco.
A little sugared tobacco.
Terry's asking if you think it's higher or lower than the first. Let's pause on that question until we taste it. I'm not going to answer because I know the answer, but I'm interested to see what the other 5.
I mean, based off of the nose. I mean, off the nose, I would say that A smells way higher proof than B. But
Yeah.
That's just off the nose for me.
But B is smelling again like it's gonna deliver. Like I don't smell it, and I'm like, oh man, I wish I got more out of it. It's delivering.
Yeah, this one's
Yeah.
making me excited to taste it for sure.
Yeah,
Cheers,
what are we waiting
guys.
Let's do it.
Cheers, guys.
for?
Cheers.
Oh,
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
There it is, right there. Whoa.
JM,
man.
if Kelvin 5 holds up to the other 4, yeah, it
Holy
absolutely does. It's, I mean,
that
5
is like that
God
is
dang,
like
that's good.
fruity brown sugar, rye spice.
Holy shit, that's good.
All right, so which is higher proof, A or B?
Ooh,
I don't know.
I'm probably wrong,
I
but
don't know, man.
God dang
They,
it.
they feel very close to me.
I don't know.
They're just
They feel
they're
pretty
different.
close. I actually think B might be.
Yeah, I think B's high proof.
I'm saying A is higher
Pretty
proof.
comparable.
Kim, we haven't heard from you much. What do you think?
I think this is delicious. It doesn't taste quite as sweet as it smelled to me. It's got more spice on the palate and a little more oak on the palate than I got on the nose, which I'm really enjoying. But I do think
This one,
I
this
would
one
go A
for
being
me,
higher proof.
this one really sticks around the palate for me though. Like
Mm.
it gets stuck on my gums and my cheeks.
yes.
It does. I like it a lot, but there's this quality to finished whiskeys. I mean, these are all finished, but some finished whiskeys have that. They're delivering on the punch, the flavor, and all that. But then you get slight little wisps of artificialness from them, and I'm getting that off of B that I did not get off of A, where it's like maybe finished just slightly too long. to
Oh, I
where
don't get that at all.
I'm getting that on B a little bit.
I would say if I were going to critique something about this glass, it would be that it's either the way the oak is coming across or the way that it's been finished. It's hitting a little drying on the back of the palate.
Just a
I don't mind that
Yeah,
because
a little bit.
it's dry like a good dry red wine or a good dry champagne. I like that personally speaking. It's not drying me out, but man, it is, to Dusty's point, this has a what I personally call like a saturated sweetness. Like
Yeah.
it is soaking into my cheeks, it's soaking into my gums. It's
Maybe that
clinging on
part of
with
it
your
is
life.
getting it's almost like a little artificial to me. Like it's been finished to a point for the sake of like punching you with finishing. It's hard to explain, but it didn't come off that on A. But after tasting it, I go back to the nose, and I'm getting slight hints on the nose now of my favorite nosing note of all time on whiskey, and that's barbecue.
Yeah, it does have a barbecue.
It's really
note on
funny you say that, Joe, because like I do get a very, very slight kind of like not like well, I mean, I guess
Like
it's slight
mesquite
kind of
barbecue.
smokiness, but yeah.
Like a
Yeah.
Texas barbecue. That is my
Yeah.
favorite note to get on a whiskey.
And you're
I
saying
mean-
you get that on B, right, Joe? Because I'm
I'm
getting
getting-
a little.
Yeah, not at first, but after trying it and going back to the nose,
Yeah.
starting a little bit to pick up a little bit of barbecue notes.
Yeah,
Smell
it's
A and then smell B, and you'll get that mesquite barbecue note on B instantly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because A
I
is
don't-
way sweeter. There's just
I will say
Go ahead, Kim.
as I'm sitting here a while after taking a sip, I'm getting a remnant of bitterness in my mouth. Like not terrible, but not great.
Well, that drying note that Josh mentioned and that barbecue note I'm getting,
Yeah.
I think definitely is perceived as that. I think I don't know. I really liked A. B, I'm starting to come around. B has that like a heaviness to it.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Oily.
It's very like you know how we talked about in the maker's pick how it was very concentrated, but this one it really does, it saturates the palate. But there's definitely to Kim's point, there is like a little bit of a bitterness, and I don't know if that's from the tannins from the oak or if it was finished for a little too long. I could see it going both ways, but
I don't remember. I wasn't trying to think of it, but I don't even remember what the 3 finishes were that we were tasting from. I don't recall.
I can't remember either, man.
I don't remember either.
Yeah, I told you once weeks ago, and then you told me to quit telling you. So the fact that
Yeah, it worked. I don't remember.
I got
But this
nothing
one
to
definitely
say.
gives me
I got
some
nothing
kinda
bad
like,
to say about B.
What was that?
Yeah, it's to me it comes off fruity. There's brown sugar. There's some oakiness to it for sure. Some rye spice.
Well, at first I said I didn't think the nose was as complex as A, but as it's sitting here and I'm spending time with it, it is developing. It is becoming more complex.
Yeah, it is.
Michael Ackley asks if the port has been open for a while. So the samples all came to me, Mike, and then they were in larger bottles, and I actually subdivided them into smaller bottles, so they got air then, and then I shipped them to the rest of the board. So they got some air between the barrel and the bigger bottle, from the bigger bottle to the smaller bottle, and now from the smaller bottle to everybody's glass. So they've had some air.
And I poured mine like 20 minutes early.
Same.
I'm a pretty big fan of this one, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't have anything bad to say about it.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Makes me really. I mean, it is a dense.
It's dense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to one of the. I mean, I brought it up, so I want to speak to it again. But I think Kim, Dusty, and I are all kind of touching on the same thing, where it's, and Joe for that matter too. There is a thing on the finish that you get with, if you ever taste old whiskey or finished whiskey, it comes in both ways. But recording stuff for the channel last night, and I tasted some high profile pours that people pay a whole lot of money for that are like 15 years old, and tannicness, like the way that this is reading to my palate, is very similar to that. Now I know this isn't as old as that, so I'm going to assume that is coming through because of the finishing, but it is a very specific thing. You got to know it's there and be ready for it. But boy, I love Glass 2. I think Glass 1 is the better whiskey balanced wise and complexity wise, but 2 is just so freaking enjoyable. It's so good.
This
really good,
comes from a guy that's put Elijah Craig pirate bottles last 3 times in a row. So I'm just saying.
Hey, you gotta blind them. You gotta blind them.
Josh, when you said you think A might be a little more balanced and B is a little more in your face, I think that's what I might have been picking up on. A was how balanced it was, and it was a little bit sweet oak, and it was sweeter. Where B is a little punchier, a little louder.
Mm-hmm.
And it is starting to get a little more complex, which is that the complexity it's getting is getting the nose a little more well-rounded too, I think.
You guys, we're like on different pages. I think 2 is more well-rounded and softer on the palate to me than A. When I go back to A has a lot more kick and rye spice to me than B does. So? I do.
I do agree with that.
You went back and tasted A again?
Yeah.
There's definitely a sharpness to A that you don't get on B. And
Paul
it's a spicy.
Paul
spicy
Smith is
chocolate.
asking about the viscosity or the thickness on the palate. What's the board's thoughts on
which one?
Either.
On 1, it is very nice for what you're getting. On 2, it is exceptional.
Yeah.
So Lance, that sharpness on A you just talked about, I just went back and tried it. Definitely did not get any sharpness the first time we went through. Coming back off of B, I'm picking up a little bit of that.
Yeah. Again, I don't know if that's rye spice or proof, but it definitely hits me a little harder than B does.
Yeah.
All right. How about we start nosing sample C? Because there's another contender in this race.
There is.
I know the first 2 have been so good though.
Oh my God.
This smells like a rye.
Really? I'm not getting that at all.
You're not getting rye on this?
Oh, 100% this is a rye.
This is a rye, Josh. Come on.
No, I'm getting like toasted marshmallowiness on this.
Yes,
Oh, for
man.
sure. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
A ton
But
of it.
what I get in a lot, and what I always identify if this is an MGP rye, is like a lemon lime kind of citrus quality to it, and that's in like the base of this.
Yeah. So I'm picking up a little bit of that citrus, Lance, but I'm getting some more tropical fruits like some like mango and pineapple.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't. To be honest with you, like I don't get a lot of tropical notes on stuff, but on this I do.
Oh,
I mean, there. I mean, occasionally I do, but this is definitely has some tropical vibe to it.
That's a rye. If
Man,
that's not a rye, I'll sell my house.
I'm smelling this.
That's unfortunate because you just moved into it, Lance.
Dan, I'm smelling this, and I'm picturing myself like on a cruise ship down in the Bahamas somewhere.
Yeah, this has got. Yeah, this is interesting. I'll say that.
This has got some of those dove or some of those seagrass qualities to it, barrel seagrass qualities.
It does have a lot of seagrass quality to it,
but with toasting added to it.
Oh,
but there's there's no ethanol on it whatsoever. Like it's not strong on the nose for me anyway.
no, it still smells like it has punch to it, right?
Yeah.
Like it's got some weight to it, but it's not melting your face or burning your nose.
Oh no, Josh becoming a rye guy thanks to Aaron. Yeah.
On
If it
most
says Jack
MGP
Dan-
rye,
Okay.
I get overwhelmed with fresh cut grass on the nose, and I just get the tiniest hint on this one.
Now, I will say, I'm with Lance. If this is not a rye, I mean, I guess we just elect new board members. I don't know.
I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you guys, I'm not in this boat. I'm not trying to think about what they are, personally speaking. This I haven't
It's
tasted
not
it
trying
yet.
to pick out. It's not trying to pick out what it is. It's just
Yeah.
What-
But it's not jumping out to me. I'm still getting that toasted marshmallowiness up. That's the
That
first-
lemon lime note in MGP Rise it sticks out in my palate so much that's what I get.
All right, let's
Have you guys
taste it.
tasted this yet?
Cheers.
Yeah, I've tasted it a few times.
Oh, that's definitely rye.
Yeah.
That's a rye. That's that's 100% a rye. Yeah.
You know,
That has some bitterness on the back end to me for sure.
the similarities
And drying.
of the seagrass though is pretty striking.
Yeah.
Yeah, that tastes like it almost tastes like a Sprite with something mixed into it to
Mhm.
make it like even sweeter. It's very sweet.
Yeah, like a Sprite with vanilla marshmallows.
Yeah, the
Yeah, now-
base of
okay.
this, to Lance's point, is definitely like that lemon lime kind of vibe for sure.
Mhm.
But then there's also an interesting there's some kind of interesting baking spice on here, and I can't quite figure out what it is. Like towards the mid and back palate, there's an interesting baking spice to it.
I agree with Dan. That I couldn't have articulated it the way he just did, but I agree with what he said.
Yeah,
And I
there's
think
something.
nutmeg.
Could be, Kim. Yeah, nutmeg.
Nutmeg, yeah, that makes
Nutmeg is a good note. Yeah. That's a very good note.
a lot of sense. For a rye, this is fantastic.
Oh yeah.
This really
I mean,
soaks
It's
soaks
a
the back of
really
the
good
palate.
whiskey. Yeah.
Yeah. On the front of the palate, I mean, it exists there. There's some sweetness, that lemon lime kind of citrus there on the sides of the palate. But to the back of the palate is really it's to whoever said that. That's really where it sits on the back of the palate. And there's fruitiness, there's spiciness, there's baking spices,
That's
and it just sits back there. There's black pepper.
Hey,
it's really good. That is really good.
hey, Reggie's not with us. You think we can buy all three?
No.
I do not want to feel Reggie's wrath.
I don't know if Reggie has a wrath. He's a pretty easygoing guy.
Yeah, he is.
I'll tell
You
what,
guys,
though.
I never want to skip a chance to brag on Reggie. Everybody watching this right now, man, y'all, we're so lucky. The last
we are.
treasurer, garbage, current treasurer, could not ask for a better treasurer.
Yeah.
He's doing great work.
That's a beautiful rye.
It is a beautiful whiskey. I'm not saying what it is. All I'm saying is it's really good. Terry says, "Buy all three. We'll all pay you back." Yeah, that's signing up for a bigger check than you might think, Terry.
You'd be surprised. we all were.
Yeah.
Getting close to the cost of a house around Toledo, Ohio.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Three is a fantastic whiskey. But Lance, I just went back real quick and smelled 2 or B. Dude.
I know, man.
So this is just my take on this one, and this is just me. But I feel like this one lacks a little bit of complexity and depth compared to A and B. I feel like this one hits more of the mid to back palate and into the finish, whereas A and B, you're kind of getting it all across the palate and into the finish. But this one, for me, there's something missing on like the front and mid palate. It's like it's there, but it's not in your face like A and B were on the front of the palate. That's just my opinion.
I agree with that 100%. It's really good. It's got good, strong, concentrated flavors. It's got a good mouthfeel. It's got what feels like a good proof punch presence without melting your face. It's got a good finish, a good bloom, which is why it's a 4-gate whiskey, I think. But it doesn't hold up to the other two.
Yeah, my other thing with C is I think I could go get a rye close enough to that. Not that it's a fantastic rye, but I think I could go find something similar to that on the shelf. Maybe not as good, but because it is really, really good.
So
I don't know where I can find something like A and B.
Well, Bill, what do you think about you've got the they just really lowered the prices on the older Seagrass. Was that the
16-year Seagrass, at least locally,
it's $140.
$149. I saw it today, and when it was originally released, it was $249. But yeah, it's down $100, at least here in Chicago.
At least when I remember trying it, because it had some heavier oak and complexity with the fruity notes that Seagrass has.
Yeah,
I mean, if anybody watching wants something comparable to this, I would think that 16-year Seagrass would be comparable to this.
Now this 16-year Seagrass is 130.82 proof. It's no joke.
Yeah, but I think you need that with the age too, if someone wants this flavor profile that we're talking about.
We lost
it's just something on here, man.
Can you guys still hear me?
It really skips over the front and mid palate.
We do have your audio, yeah.
Lance, we can hear you. We just can't see you.
Okay, I think my camera overheated. I was recording earlier, so I think it's so.
Hey, there you go. Hey, Jay.
Cody asks if I'm in Chicago. Yeah, Cody, I'm in the northwest suburbs. I avoid the city at all costs, but come up to the northwest corner and I'm here.
Yeah, Jay picked up the 16-year-old Seagrass Friday in Ohio for $149.
Yep.
All right, so here's what I'd ask you to do. Let spend it. Try B and A again, but start with B and go backwards. Go B A and see if it changes your perspective on B and A at all.
B's got that barbecue thing going on, man.
Yeah, it does.
Man,
They're not getting that much.
I'm in love with that note.
I'm not getting
It's like
that
a
note
it's like a
as much as you
toasted
guys
kind
are.
of smoky.
I think I'm reading what that note is. I think it's coming across like barrel char for me.
Yeah.
It is. It's
Yeah.
yeah.
So I
Like
just
a little bit
tasted
of like
B.
a smoked.
I just tasted B coming off of C. The mouthfeel on B is even better coming from C.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's really good.
B, in my opinion, has the best mouthfeel all around for sure.
Yeah.
By far.
Man, I like that Rickhouse nose of A, but I
Yeah.
don't think it holds up to that whether you call it barrel char, barbecue, whatever it is on B.
Man,
Man,
I
A
just
is
on-
really good.
Hey, it's
They're
really
both
good.
A is really good.
I'm loving A.
If I had to
Going back
guess,
to it.
if I had to guess, A is the Four Roses distillate, but I might be wrong. I think
I
that's
can
that
see that.
higher rye.
I could see that. I was in love with A from the get-go. I think I was even trying to talk you guys into A from B, but it's starting to fall short for me now.
Yeah,
B's got like that rummy kind of finish, man. There's a lot of
It
brown
does.
sugar on B.
Yeah, I'll
it
tell you
definitely
guys,
does.
I said I warmed up with Kelvin Collaboration 5, and pretty much everybody who knows anything about this is it's a blended product to make a large batch for a mass release.
Yep.
Glass B tastes like a single barrel of Kelvin Collab 5. It's like the same flavors are there, but there are things that are just amped up. It tastes like a Kelvin Collab cranked up a notch.
Somebody asked in chat earlier, they were thinking about buying Kelvin Collab 5, and should they do it? The answer is yes.
Yeah.
I love Kelvin Collab 5. I know it gets a lot of flack online from people, and a lot of people like 4 better. I think I like 5 better. 4 is a Burrai, and that brings with it some specific things. And this is Kelvin Collab 5 is just bourbon only base, and 4 has a little bit more punch, which I do like, but I like the strictly bourbon base of 5 a lot.
I think 5 is great. 4 is what made me fall in love with Foregate.
Yeah.
2, the Glass B is so dark and rich, man. God dang. I went back to A and I was like, A is so good, and then I tasted B. They're both fantastic.
Yeah,
All three of these are great.
I think I know what I've got my rankings.
Well, we can't buy them all. We can't even buy 2 of them. So
Yeah,
Yep.
we
It's
have to
pretty
decide.
I've got my ranking.
yeah.
I
I
got
think
mine.
I think it's pretty clear.
All right. Well, is everybody comfortable voting on how they feel about them?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to start with sample A.
Hang on just a second, Bill. I'm going
All
to
right.
audible here. Do we have a unanimous last place?
C.
See,
See.
Does everybody raise your hand if you have C in third place?
We can't see Dan. Oh, there's his hand.
There it is. All right. So as good as C is, that's third place. So it really comes down to which one's in first place.
Wait a minute. Does everybody have B? And I don't know about.
Hold
Ken.
on. We're
no,
gonna,
I'm the oddball. I put A first.
Oh,
All
good.
right, go ahead, Bill.
And I know I'll get outvoted, but I'm gonna vote for
You
my
may not.
favorite anyway.
so let's start with A. Those that would vote for A, raise your hand.
I love it. Hold strong, Kim. Hold strong.
And those that would vote for B, raise your hand. All right, it's 5-1. It was very, very close. The only reason I didn't vote for A, I almost voted with Kim, is on the back side of A. It just felt like the spice was a little bit out of balance. That it wasn't just for the fun of the rye spice. It almost came across as a little hot, even though it's not that. So,
Yeah, I agree. That was me too, Bill. Like A is fantastic. But I kept thinking, which one would if I had both of those barrels, which one would I sit down and drink more often and run to? And for me, it was just B. It just the mouthfeel, the density of it, the darkness. But A was fantastic. I could see why a lot of people would like A. Kim, what made you like A more?
So I enjoyed the punch of rye spice in A, and in B, that slight bitterness at the end was just a little bit off-putting to me. But they're both fantastic. Like I would sit and drink either of these all night long.
I drink any of these. I mean, even
So
C.
just to add to Kim, like oftentimes on double barreled stuff, if it's double barreled too much, I get that bitterness I think you're getting. I just don't get it on this, and it almost turns to a Sharpie note to me that I can't stand. And luckily I didn't get it on this, but if you're I don't know if you're sensitive to that, but maybe.
Well, they're chiming up in the chat of what they think.
Terry says they say women's palates are better. Terry,
They are.
women are just the superior species in general.
Yeah.
It's not just their palate. They're just pretty much badass all the way around.
Yeah, maybe Kim's vote should count for 5.
No.
I will say,
I'm going back to B.
It was easier for me to rule out Glass C. A and B are quite different in the way they go about their business. A is a little bit more soft on the front of the palate and ramps up to a rye spiciness. I'm not saying it's a rye. I'm just saying like a higher rye bourbon, the way those read sometimes. It does that a little bit on the back of the palate, but it's got a lot of twists and turns. It's, it's got those layers to it. But B is just, it is so saturated with just dark, fruity sweetness. It's if you've ever tasted a Kelvin Collaboration 4-Gate, it literally tastes like that, except cranked up.
I'm changing my guess. I think B is the Four Roses finished in rum and whatever else it was.
I agree.
Yeah,
For sure.
I don't even remember what they were. I thought we had 2 finished bourbons and 1 finished rye, but I
think that first one just comes off wild turkey-ish to me. It makes me think it's that finished bourbon.
Well, that makes me I think that's why I liked it off the bat then.
Yeah.
I'll start by revealing sample C since it was unanimous third place. And it's not fair to call it last place because it's a fantastic whiskey.
Fantastic.
I would drink this any night.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
C is by the way, C was the highest proof of the 3.
Oh.
C came in at 124 proof, and this is a 7-year-old toasted rye.
Oh, I don't have to give my house away.
That's interesting that it's a toasted rye and it's not a
It is a toasted
like
rye.
a wine finished rye.
It tastes just like a toasted rye to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marshmallows.
Yeah.
Toasted marshmallows.
It's pretty good.
It's very good.
It's very good.
I better
really,
save.
really good.
I better save the rest of this sample for Jess.
Yeah, I would drink that any night. All right, so let's go to sample A since that's the one we didn't pick, although it was close and this was Kim's favorite. This was the lowest proof.
Oh, really? Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Now we were in a very, very tight range. This came in at 119.7 proof, and this is a 7-year-old Kentucky straight bourbon finished in sherry rum cask.
That was the sherry rum?
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Really?
So I
Really?
think that means B is a toasted.
Yeah.
So Kim
That
called
is
this, by
definitely-
the way. Kim
called
this.
it. Josh said B tasted just like Kelvin Collaboration, but actually the closest to Kelvin Collaboration sample A.
On paper,
Wow.
yeah. On paper.
paper.
Not on palate, though.
All right, so B, our pick for the group, middle in proof. This came in at 123.1 proof. And this is a 7-year-old Kentucky bourbon, and it is toasted.
Very nice.
That is beautiful.
7-year Kentucky bourbon.
Yes, sir.
Kentucky bourbon toasted. I love those toasted 4-Gates.
Man, that's insane because I would think it was vice versa.
I would
that's-
too.
The saturated sweetness, the dark brown sugar, the dark fruit on Glass B, that is insane. Whatever I want to know what the base bourbon of that is so badly.
So, I don't know. There's been rumors around the sherry rum being Four Roses, but that's unconfirmed. But yes, the one we picked is Kentucky based on what I see on this label. But yeah, it's 7-year toasted.
Wow.
So here's what
And
I want
that's,
to tell people.
that's where that mesquite note is coming from. That's that toasted barrel.
I love that. I
Mm.
absolutely love
If you like toasted or double oak stuff, if you like just generally very saturated sweet things, but not cloyingly or sickeningly sweet, you're gonna love this. And then what I can't wait to have happen is to get the bottle, get a pour or two out of it, let it sit, get a little air time over a few weeks. Man, it's this thing, and even trying it with some water like this, it would hold up to that. It is, man, this is something else.
So,
So
the
Scott
proof
asked-
range, the proof range from lowest to highest was 5 points.
Yeah.
So I mean, from a proof standpoint, these were essentially the same.
So Scott asked any nuttiness on B. I didn't get any nuttiness on B.
No,
I did not either. No.
I'd name this like sugared burn ends or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Sugared burn ends. Ooh.
I mean, just off of flavor profile, I would have guessed B was the one finished in the not toasted one. What was it? Finished in cherry, whatever it was.
Cherry rum.
Sure.
Yeah.
Just based off the palate. I mean,
Kim is giving us such a disapproving look.
I know. Because Kim
not.
nailed it. So here's a little fun fact about Four-Gate. On some Four-Gate barrels, you'll see where it says sherry hyphen rum, and some it'll say sherry and rum. And they do that intentionally. The difference is if it says sherry and rum, they finish some of it in sherry barrels and some of it in rum barrels, and they blend that together. If there's a dash, it means the barrel was used twice before, once for sherry, once for rum, but it was all in the same barrel.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So watch the front of the label for a dash or an and.
Yeah. So on 2, Paul, in the beginning, I got a lot of dark sweet fruit, maybe a black cherry, maybe slightly more of like a plum stone fruit. But the more it sat and the more we went into it, it got into that that barbecue toasty type note.
And I would say plum, raisin, all the dark dates, all the dark fruits, plus brown sugar, molasses,
Yep.
oak, tobacco, all that stuff. Like almost like a sweet pipe tobacco.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I think we agree this was the best viscosity of the three. I mean,
by
Yeah.
far.
Well, Sweet Oak likes it. Sweet Oak should like it.
Yeah, man, this was fun. It's always fun when you're comparing. Anytime you do a pick and you're tasting like 4 barrels of the exact same product, it's always interesting because you're trying to just dial in on minutia of the same general flavors. Because these were each so different, there was a lot of differences in what you were getting in the glasses.
Yeah, this
Which
reminded
can-
me like a Found North pick.
Yeah,
Doing
bit.
it can make
Yeah.
something stand out. It can make something stand out as the worst or the best pretty easily, but because they're so different, it can be tough to decide. A and B were very different. Both, well, they're all very good, but A and B were both very good, just in very different ways.
I would never have guessed blind that this was a 7-year whiskey. It drinks older. Than
No.
Oh yeah.
There's way more oak on this than a 7-year whiskey.
I mean, that's I'd even see older than 10. I'd say floating around 12 years old.
Scott asks, "What's the ETA on this?" This is a couple months down the road, 3 months maybe down the road. It's probably in October, November timeframe before we see this one get shipped. Keep in mind, we've picked Hard Truth and Makers. We've got a couple other picks that have been done for a while we haven't gotten yet. So you're gonna have to be patient with us on this one. It's coming. It's just gonna be a little while.
I'm excited for it though. It's good.
Oh yeah.
Really good.
Yeah, the fact we could pick Four-Gate in the first year of this endeavor is a pretty awesome thing.
And again, I'm going to say this. This happened because of Reggie. Reggie knows the numbers and made sure this was possible.
Yeah, we had to get permission from Dad before we were allowed to do it.
Man, that is gripping on the it just takes over your palate.
Yeah.
Matt Porter on ADHD Whiskey says he likes a whiskey that will just like kick in the door and take over the show. And while A was very good, and it had that spice Kim was talking about. I mean, we all kind of commented on it. Man, 2 is just it's a kick in the door. It busts through the wall like the Kool-Aid Man.
I mean, the first thing I did when I smelled it was say, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Scott,
I mean, when I
sounds like a good holiday pour. This would be a perfect holiday pour. Come
yeah.
Thanksgiving, Christmas time. Yeah.
Also, to Joe's point, I'm not a cigar guy, but I feel like that is I've had, and Bill could speak to this a little bit more, but like with the way that the dark fruit and the saturated sweetness is coming across on this, like it puts my mind in that like Magnus cigar blend type of area. I'm not saying it's the same as that, but it's that saturated sweetness like some of those types of bottles can be.
Yeah.
You guys should take another
This is
sip
in
of that
world
rye.
for sure. Yeah, this is a cigar blend-ish kind of whiskey for sure.
So
Take another sip of that rye. That like tobacco is coming out in it even more.
That rye is so good.
So Mike, to answer his question, on our regularly scheduled monthly live stream next week, everybody should have their bottles, and that's the idea. Everybody crack them open, and we'll all have a pour together.
Looking forward to it.
Do some tasting notes in the comments. You guys can let us know what you're getting.
Yeah, I can't wait for that.
It's going to be a blast.
Yeah.
We can I think it would be helpful, like we can kind of recap the pick experience because it was a really fun experience. You know, Lance put together an amazing video you can go watch as you're getting your bottles in, and don't feel like you got to wait to crack them or anything, but it's going to be a really good time to be able to taste that together.
Yeah, maybe we'll even play the video on the live.
We can do that.
Yeah.
We can do that. I think. Yeah.
That'd be a great intro.
Just everybody exhibit a little bit of patience on the shipping. I think Lance said a bunch about 70 got picked up today. There's still a whole nother batch that hasn't even started the shipping process being picked up tomorrow. For just, personal example, one has arrived, the other hasn't. It's just the way it's going to work. Give it a few days. If you haven't seen it by Wednesday next week, reach out, let us know. But
guys, we had just pallets of boxes. We shipped them individually, so there were a ton of them. And UPS just came and did like I think 3 or 4 pickups throughout the week. So they picked up a big batch today, and they have 70 left to pick up tomorrow. So as long as they don't cancel and not go by A1 tomorrow, they will grab your last 70. And as always, a huge shout out to A1 for helping us. They gave us the back bar to set up an assembly line and pack boxes and hang out there all day and work our butts off. So,
and I will say this is. Oh, go ahead, Kim. Go ahead.
Yep, go ahead, Josh.
I was just going to piggyback on that. Being a former UPS delivery driver and still an employee of the company for many years, Lance, how many boxes in total did you guys package up?
I think it was 278, but we had to tape every box and put stickers on and tape labels on and make sure the labels were completely covered in tape.
So I can tell you guys this: if Lance and crew and volunteers and everybody that so generously donated time to help with that could palletize those, and they were all going to one location, we could freight ship them, and that would be very easy to get everything out right away. But that's not what we're doing. We're individually distributing these things to all of you guys. So that the manpower for that has to be picked up in those little package vehicles that you see. And there's no way you can pick up all of that volume in one day. You have to space it out. So it's something to know about picks when they start coming out in the future that they'll go out, but give it some time for UPS, that I can't stress enough how overwhelming that is as a delivery driver to walk into a place and see that much stuff and just be like, dude, no, there's just no room. I can't.
Yeah. I don't think they were very happy with us. I know we took 4 trips to the Dollar General store to get tape. We spent over $100 in just tape because we're like 8 rolls will be enough. And then we went through those so fast. We're like 8 more rolls will be enough. we just kept doing that. We took 4 different trips.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's
Okay,
it's
so
such
that's-
a
that's
such a massive
so
endeavor.
Lance just gave me a tasker to go on Uline and order tape. Okay, have that shipped.
Yeah. Well, I will not be sad if we never buy 2 barrels at the same time again.
That's fair.
So
Even
I
though I'm
did
glad we
want
did
preferential
it.
treatment.
a little plug of things to come. So I'm wearing the new Athletic Tri-Blend t-shirt.
Oh yeah.
Took notes in my new whiskey journal
Oh,
and drinking water out of our new tumbler.
Look
Nice.
at you, Kim.
Hey, I got to say, Josh, too, I took a peek to see what you guys are doing in the back of the website, and it's looking fantastic.
The website's all Whitney that's helping us out with merch, but I'm wearing so Kim has the Tri-Blend athletic shirt on, which is super soft, super moisture wicking,
Super soft.
all that stuff. I'm wearing the vintage shirt. We're gonna have a vintage shirt. So this is like the color's called Pepper, but it's basically a faded black, and it's got a little bit more of a roomy fit. So it's just a little bit more relaxed, and it just 100% cotton. It literally feels like your old worn cotton t-shirt that you've had for like 15 years that you're still hanging on to for dear life, that your wife wishes you would get rid of. But it feels amazing. Like, I love this thing. It's just, and I've got one of those that Kim has too, and it's so soft. This merch is, Kim and I have been working on this for hard and heavy for a while now, and we are super excited about it.
Coming up in a month, you guys have been working on it. Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, we've gone through lots of samples to try and
Yeah.
get some just really good quality variety.
Yeah.
awesome!
And
Thank you guys for
Just
that.
for
Yeah.
transparency for everybody, Kim and I, we paid for those samples ourselves. We're getting the stuff, so we paid for that. That's not organizational. It's not coming out of any of the money for charity or anything like that. It's coming out of our pockets. We're good to go there. So, yeah, I'm super happy with it. I'm feeling a lot of organizational pride, personally speaking. So hopefully you guys will feel that too when it comes up.
Dan asked
Dan, that's a
when
great-
the new store is
great-
coming up. Hopefully by the live stream next week. That's the goal, right?
That's
We're
the goal.
shooting for that as a target. And we have a full catalog. Before we had a t-shirt and a hoodie and didn't have a lot of, anything else really, we did add a polo at some point. But we have a full catalog. Like I said, tumblers, whiskey journals, tasting glasses, hats, tons of different shirt options, hoodie options, sweatshirts. We've got tank tops for women. We've got women's cut tees. What am I missing here, Kim?
We've got magnets. We've got a whiskey glass. We have a tote bag that will carry 2 bottles.
What about hats?
Hats.
Yep, we got
Yep.
some hats, leather patch hats. I
And
can
I-
finally be in the leather patch hat club.
Yeah, Joe wants that leather patch hat. Joe's
I
been
want that
eyeing
leather
that hat
patch
for a
hat.
month. And I suspect more will come in spirit of transparency. The woman behind the scenes doing this with Josh and Kim is my oldest daughter, Whitney, who does have a full-time job in law enforcement in Wisconsin. She works for a local police department in the state of Wisconsin, but she's been working behind the scenes, building the website and helping do the design. And she's having a blast doing it. And she's loved working with Josh and Kim and excited for everybody to see it.
Whitney's been great.
Can't wait.
Awesome.
Yeah, she has been.
And
And it's worth noting, she is this. Bill knows this, but Whitney also does a lot of Etsy stuff on the side on her own. So she
Yeah.
has a background in merchandise specifically for that, which is,
yeah.
she's
She
been a
does that-
huge resource to have on hand.
She does a page for she's in law enforcement, obviously. That's her chosen profession, as is her husband's. She has an Etsy page for first responders. She focuses on police, fire, military on her Etsy page. But she's also done this, and it's going to generate a lot of money for our charities as well. So everything you buy on the new store will contribute to the bottom line of Barrels for Hope, so we can donate more to charity. And what you see on the store in the first round next week will be great. Is all the stuff you've just seen, and I won't be surprised if it grows from there.
Yeah, there's been a couple of good suggestions in the chat. Coasters, bar mat. wow, if a Barrels Row bar mat would be pretty cool.
It would be.
Yep. Love to see the suggestions. Definitely let us know what you guys would like to have, and if it's possible for us to get it, we will absolutely look into it.
All right. Well, that was some good info. I'm super excited. I hope everybody watching is really excited. We've got another great barrel pick coming your way. We selected a toasted Kentucky bourbon from Foregate. I'm super excited about that.
It's so good.
We
Barrel
are
623.
Yep. So we are running just over an hour and 5 minutes here. I know I have a rough day tomorrow. I got to drive to Kentucky for another barrel pick.
Oh,
So-
tough life.
My
got
daughter
another one
Lee.
coming up. Let's not forget we're gonna be gathering in Ohio here
That's right.
in about 4 weeks to do a Middle West Dark Pumpernickel
Columbus.
Rye pick.
Columbus,
And
Ohio, go Bucks.
If you haven't had the Middle West Dark Pumpernickel Rye at
Josh,
Cask
you said
Strength,
you did this first.
you are missing out. That is some great whiskey.
Get him out of here.
Yeah, that
He's out
deserves
of, he's
that,
out of
right?
order. He's out of order.
Hey, you see the title right there?
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah.
All right, I'm setting these up now. I'm setting these up.
Too good.
Excited to see people in Columbus. You're gonna love that Middle West Dark Pumpernickel Rye.
Oh,
Don't
yeah.
sleep on that stuff. It's amazing stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah,
We'll pick you guys a good one.
cool. All right,
And we'll see you next week. Same bat
Yeah.
time, same bat channel. Taste this
Live.
ECBP.
yep.
Yep. Can't wait. Thank you guys for everything. And we'll see you guys next week. Cheers,
Cheers.
everybody.
Appreciate each and every one of
Cheers.
you guys. Thank you for being a part of this.
Cheers.